Stephen King needs no introduction unless you're alien to this earth. Not only is he an iconic figure in storytelling as a whole, but he has crafted some of the most unique and compelling horror novels that have inspired iconic film adaptations such as Stanley Kubrick's The Shining and both the It miniseries and theatrical films. However, there have been many Stephen King film adaptations that never caught the public eye. Don't get me wrong, some of them deserve not to be well known, but others are highly underrated. The Mist, which was released in 2007, directed by Frank Darabont, is a shining example of that. Get it? Shining? Yeah, I hate myself too. A few years back when I was a very tiny Sly and Sonic fan, well basically just a Sly fan, my dad was watching The Mist in the living room, and I walked in on this scene. Yeah, I have serious arachnophobia, and this movie might be somewhat responsible for that. Anyways, I rewatched The Mist recently, and upon doing so, I realized this movie might actually be my favorite horror movie of all time. Trust me, I need to talk about a good horror movie after the trash I reviewed last week. But why do I regard this movie as such a brilliant film? Well, let's begin to take a look at The Mist. Based on a short story of the same name in Stephen King's novella titled The Skeleton Crew, The Mist is centered around David, who takes his son to a grocery store to get some items to fix some parts of their house after it was damaged in a storm. However, a strange mist engulfs the area around the store, and everyone finds out that there are deadly creatures waiting outside in the mist, leaving them all trapped. While this setup doesn't initially sound mind-blowing, you eventually realize that there are so many interesting ways you can explore this idea. And since this is a Stephen King we're talking about, you know either good or bad, he's going to do something entertaining with it. And I can safely say The Mist delivers. The general mood of the movie is suspenseful, and since there's so many people in this store, there are many arguments that are bound to happen. However, the movie never feels repetitive about it. The origins of the mist is briefly hinted at, and even when it is, you're never sure what the mist is and how it works. I've already discussed how letting the audience be just as confused as the main characters tend to make movies such as Jeepers Creepers and basically all the Cloverfield movies so immersive, and that stands here. Telling us what the mist is would only take away from its intimidation. Not only are the creatures outside really threatening, but being trapped in a confined space with people you just don't trust is a suspenseful premise. You never feel like the characters are safe once the mist rolls in. And there's not a lot of comedy in this movie that ruins the suspense. Well, not any intentional comedy. But everyone in the story is trapped in here regardless, so what about the characters? Well, all of them are fine. David is technically the single main character, but you never really feel like there is a main character. There's a lot of people who get a good amount of screen time and contribute to the story. The only unlikable character being Mrs. Carmody, who is an insane Christian lady. Even though she's just another Stephen King trope, without spoiling anything, she's very important to the plot and the narrative's overall theme. She is also one of the most hated Stephen King antagonists, which basically tells you the writers knew what they were doing when writing her. Some cool characters I'd like to highlight is Ollie, who's literally the coolest character in the entire movie. There's Amanda, who's super nice and knows how to defend not only herself, but others as well. Those are the only characters I personally really liked. David is somewhat likable, but he's pretty freaking bland, which is a shame because he actually has a pretty cool feel of God subplot in the short story. His son Billy doesn't get a lot of screen time, but he's okay, I guess. Overall, the characters were pretty cool and service the plot in an interesting manner. However, one thing that I love about this movie is its beautiful theme. This movie has nightmare-filled monsters waiting outside for our group of characters, and while their presence alone causes fear in the audience, the movie focuses primarily on the people stuck in the situation, and how the monsters are not always the biggest threats. In fact, us humans are very intelligent and, let's face it, really selfish creatures. Not only that, but we can basically do whatever we want. I mean, we have built cities, made insane advancements in technology. Heck, the dreams and aspirations of humans are what made the computer, phone, TV, or whatever device we're watching this video on. We get so caught up with the many threats the Earth has to offer that we sometimes forget we can be just as dangerous as the monsters we fear and fantasize about. The Mist highlights that message in a grand way, and that alone is a huge reason why I personally love this story. It also shows how much of a brilliant mind Stephen King has. Let's just hope he wasn't stoned in writing the story like he was with the many other stories he's written. So with all the important qualities of this movie out of the way, let's talk about the effects for fun. This movie came out in 2007, and while the effects aren't spectacular, I didn't see many things that were wrong with them. Don't get me wrong, if I want to acknowledge how they're not there, I can certainly do so with ease. But if I want to trick my brain into believing they're there, I can do that too. Fun fact, this movie was actually supposed to be in black and white. The purpose of this movie being in black and white would have been to serve as a stylistic choice and to hype the effects a little to make them look more convincing. However, the studio didn't think a black and white movie would sell well in 2007, so the movie was released in color with a black and white version being a bonus with the DVD. A black and white version existing would have been fine, but since growing up in the 2000s have spoiled me, I personally prefer the movie to be in color, just to please my eyes. In conclusion, I think The Mist is a great movie. The ideas it represents are brilliant, the characters are fun, the monsters are pretty cool, and the overall narrative is just really fun to see unfold. While The Mist did do decent at the box office, this movie seems to have been forgotten in time with not too many people knowing about its existence. Not only that, but while the reviews for the movie weren't close to being bad, it certainly didn't please some people, which is understandable. The effects are iffy, the acting can be a little dumb at times, the movie is not subtle with its messages, and some parts do scream early 2000s cheese. However, those problems don't really affect me that much. And I think this is a genuinely wonderful movie. That is why I give The Mist an easy 5 out of 5. But what do you guys think? Have you seen The Mist? If so, what do you think? If not, be sure to give it a watch. Anyways, this movie caps off my reviews for Halloween 2019. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.